Hello and welcome to another Autoflow webinar. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill, and with me today is co-host or actual host, I guess I'll call him, our CEO, Chris Cloutier. Thanks for joining me, Chris.
Hi, Craig. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for joining me for this
Good.
topic. You're the right guy for it. And as we mentioned in the registration for this particular webinar, we kind of get a bonus here today because we actually get to talk to Chris as shop owner, Chris. And we're going to talk to you as software as a service CEO, Chris, and this will be good. It'll be good.
I love sitting on both sides of the page, Craig. You know.
Absolutely. So this is fun. A lot of you have already met us in our audience today, but if you don't know us, my role at Autoflow is in the training and client success department. I've joined Chris's team 8 years ago now. I left from the family transmission shop to go into this realm of software, and it's been an exciting time, and it's only getting more exciting as we move into this very, very AI era. And as a lot of you know, I have some opinions regarding the way AI has come into the world and challenges some of the communication ideals, I would say, that I hold. But a challenge came up from Chris to our team, knowing full well that characters like me will probably have some opinions on the topic at large. Chris, you challenged our leadership team to learn to leverage AI. This was, gosh, about easily a year ago now, I think. And it's changed a lot. You knew how I feel about this in general. You knew that the feelings on AI are going to be there. Some people don't want to leverage it. Some people see it purely as a threat or as an evil or as other elements here. And here we are, not even the first quarter of 2026 almost wrapped up behind us, and it's gone in 3 months, directions I couldn't have even imagined 6 months ago. And I'm so thankful now for that challenge that you've leveraged on us to actually lean into it a little bit. Either you're a true prophet or something here, but I have to imagine that was one of the harder leadership decisions you put in front of us, to ask us to leverage something that you, I guess, sensed was gonna be revolutionary way before some other folks did.
So you approach it with a healthy skepticism, Greg, and I appreciate that. And I think everybody should approach it with a healthy skepticism. There's a lot of information out there on AI. There's a lot of misinformation on AI. There's a lot going on. So why I brought it to the team, Craig, is you're absolutely right, is not me being a futurist or somebody who has as a prophet. It's me being hit over the head with other people who have led the way and said, look, this is the next tool. This is what we've got to learn to use. This is what we've got to learn to master. We're still in very much experimental stages of this, but like with any technology advancement, any type of shift or revolution we've had, right, there's going to be an awkward phase. It's the experimental phase, and I think that's what we're in right now. And like you said, look, we're early. I mean, there's some guys we listen to, some podcasts I listen to. All In is one that I like, and they say this often. They say, this is the worst AI will ever be. Think about that. This is the worst that it will ever be. And like you said, within just a year, within the last couple of years, we've seen, fingers go from 6 fingers to 5 fingers to incredibly elaborate videos that you can create, music you can create on the fly. Everything is accelerated. Agents now open claw. Like, you think of all the things that are happening, they're happening at an exponential rate. So just us trying to dig our heels in and understand what it is and how we can leverage it as another tool in our arsenal, I think is important for all business owners. So I'm glad we're having this. I don't think we're going to answer every question that everybody's going to have. Hopefully we'll encourage some people to just go download your ChatGPT app or your Claude app or your Gemini app and just start asking it questions.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no fear in that. There's no, I'm going to lose my bank account numbers. I'm going to lose this. It's just the start of a relationship with a tool. And that's super important, right? It's always that first step that's a little scary.
It is. Well, even the first step for me, it was made with like some pride. Felt a little hurt. Like, crap, Chris, why is this thing better at writing short and concise emails than I am?
Like, right. Yeah, we're going to give up a lot of examples, but I'm going to people say, well, how to use it, where to use it, what to use it in, and you have examples. Now we use it daily. I'm going to tell you just as a practical example of recent that is a lot of work that I had to do and it was opening this third shop, Greg. So we went the SBA route. And anybody who out there who's ever gone the SBA route, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of projections, there's business cases, all this thing you have to put together. Craig, what would usually take me, and I have prediction models and all this other stuff, what would usually take me hours or days to get this information together, I was able to get it done in minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's that whole feed it in. Here's my projections from my other shops. Here's the projections that I'm calculating. My business about this. And here it spits out stuff that trust would verify. Had to do some massaging and some changes. But as a CEO who runs multiple companies, auto repair shops, software companies, real estate company, like, wow, I've now been able to extenuate and work, unless it's my extended brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's my Jarvis, it's Iron Man, it's our Jarvis.
It's a good example from that film. And this is where I really want to encourage people is like, I want to recognize that I've been embracing AI and I've almost been consumed by it in the last few weekends with some of the project types that I'll show you here in a moment. But I want to also emphasize that where I was coming at it, I'm like the most reluctant convert, but to AI elements, it's okay to have those concerns about it and not even like the way it's being used in some cases. Like for me, it's all about how people are probably leaning into it too much to communicate for them, and it isn't authentic anymore, and all these other things. But that's just the surface layer of what these LLMs are capable of today, and the LLMs are just one component of all of this. For me, that's been an important piece of the puzzle of leverage. But I think it's important for everyone to understand this. And I bring this up. I know a lot of you are already playing with these models. We will show you some poll results here in a moment. But I was at Vision recently, and on the trade show floors, we're talking about things. And I was mentioning the LLMs, and someone says, LLM, what's that? It's like, oh, yeah. Well, this is, I've been marinating in this now in the software side for quite a while, that some of these terms I know still, like when we're nose to the grindstone in the shops, a lot of times this stuff can just fly by the radar and you don't even think to question what it is. But the large language models are the chat GPTs and all the other chat elements of the world. And what they're trained on is the patterns of our natural language, all the literature, all the web pages, all the things ever built. And I want to start here, and I want to get past this part really quick in this webinar, because I know some of you are already dabbling in this. But for those of you who are not, this is one of the first layers that we're going to really want to encourage. Like Chris is saying, like, Chris, I think one of the best books that was thrown out of Scott Smyer on our team recommended it, and then you put it out to the leadership team as well, was by Jeff Woods. It was the AI driven leader. We picked that one up, and that was helpful for me because it made me think about these LLMs in a way that wasn't just something rewriting things for me. And that's one of the premises of this webinar today, is like, whenever I talk to people about AI, the first thing they think of is like, okay, it's just a tool that rewrites things for me. No. Oh, no, it is not.
Yes, so much more. And I think it's worth addressing the evil. Is this tool evil? Is it not? I mean, you used that earlier, and I want to address it. I've forgotten my monologue to address it. A tool can be used for evil, right? And I think the problem is a lot of times we need to make sure that good people are involved in decisions with these tools. Good people will use it for good. Bad people will use it for bad. Is a hammer a good thing or a bad thing? Well, in the hands of a framer, it's wonderful. In the hands of somebody who's wanting to hurt somebody else, it's a horrible tool, right? So it is that. Is it, will it end up being Terminator in the future? I don't know. We'll see. And these LLMs, you're right, Craig. Like, this is just the beginning of what, like, this sentient being. There's different levels, right? We're calling it, that ends up coming on later on, right? This artificial intelligence is, what does it become when it becomes more specific, right? You have it to where, they're predicting there's going to, eventually it'll be a super being, right? It'll be able to you're not querying it, it's not prompting, it's telling you what to do. It becomes an expert. It becomes, in its own way, a demo, right? We're not there yet. We're very early stages of, yes, it's taken a lot of data. You see Dictionary, I think Dictionary suing one of the companies because they're like, hey, you've ripped all of our data, and basically you're using it to model or to train your models, which is basically, we've had this conversation, what's a cat? Is a cat a cat, a dog a dog? You tell your kid, the difference between a cat and a dog, and you have to correct them year after year after year after year until finally your child goes, oh, I understand the difference between a cat and dog. I can look at its hind leg, I can look at its ear, I can look at its tail, I can look at a very small portion of this picture, and I can make a value or a very high probable judgment based off of this, right? That's training your different models and making them understand what it is that they're capable of thinking through. And then one more thing with AI is it is imperfect, just like a human brain, right? You don't always, sometimes you see a hind leg and you're like, oh, that's definitely a dog. And it's a big cat, right? And you're like, oh crap, I got that wrong, right? So it's as good as we make it. Is it better at some things than we are? Absolutely, when it comes to some of the calculations they can do, right? They're more precise. But the whole slot thing's real. Coming up with things that aren't true is real. Right.
Yeah, it is. And there are a lot of tools here, and we're going to dive into a couple of these today, and we're going to get a little past the typical prompts on here, but I want to make sure that you understand that what we're going to be encouraging our audience to leverage and gain familiarity with. Drop any presuppositions you have about good or evil or otherwise, and understand what this is and how it can be used. So Claude is one of my favorites, and I'll be demonstrating how that one works. Anthropic's LLM, really effective for coding and a variety of other things as well. And then I was put on to another one, really great program called Willow Voice, which I'll be demonstrating here in a little bit. Willow Voice is a voice dictation utility that I actually can install on your desktop or Mac or Windows. And there's an iPhone app for it too. And the Android app is coming. But it's better and beyond what you do in a normal voice dictation in your devices. So I'll demonstrate what I mean by that in a moment. And then I want to also introduce the concept of Cursor. This one was another one recommended to me by a project manager that we work with. And wow, some of the apps you can build with that program. So you use Claude and Willow Voice with Cursor, and you are off to the races dictating prompts to an AI that's developing software with you. And that's tons of fun, as you'll see in a moment. ChatGPT is one I think everyone's been familiar with because it was one of those early to the scene pieces. I have to say, I started using that. We had Chris provided licenses for our organization for that, and I used it a little bit, dabbled. I did not like GPT as much as I liked Claude very early on in the experience with different prompts and different utilities. I gravitated towards Claude so thoroughly that I have pretty much left the GPT realm long before it was popular to leave the GPT realm. If those of you are following the Pentagon debate and all the concerns over weaponry and mass surveillance and the AI Armageddon elements that people love to talk about. And lastly, we have Gemini, to put it last because Gemini is an idiot. But no, it's not. I just really haven't had good luck with Gemini compared to some of the others. Personally, it is good for a lot of things like images and all that stuff. Shoot, Chris, we've been seeing the images that was Nano Banana, right? It's
Nano Banana. Yeah, it's incredible. And then you got Grok. Like there was a spreadsheet. I can't bring it up, right? Because it was somebody else who showed it to me. This was over a year ago. And I don't know if you remember, but there was over 100 tools on this, that are all some form of some sort of modeled, whether it's image, whether it's text, whether it was video, just a ton. Music. There's some, and I'm sure that's probably doubled and tripled in the last year, without question, right? It seems like every couple of weeks something new is on the horizon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we talked about these tools, and I've got to use this slide as an example of AI because I'm going to tell you right now, I made these slides with Claude and it built them really well, but it built it as a PPTX PowerPoint file, and I do all this stuff in Google Slides. And this one might look fuzzy to you because I actually had to take a snapshot so I could show you which were the recipients of our pull for the registration. This is how the layout looks percentage-wise of our audience on which tools are in use right now. Chris mentioned Grok. That one, I've never played with that one, but Copilot, actually anyone using Windows has probably used Copilot, whether you realize it or not. But ChatGPT still takes the cake. But I did like this. Just about 30% of our audience isn't using AI yet. Of those of you who are, some of you are still paying for it out of your own individual pockets, whereas a little over half of you, fortunately, have the organization providing those tools for you. But why I wanted to mention this slide here, let's just show you something here. I had to fix this slide very quickly before the webinar when I realized it didn't have the labels in there. So like, this is one of those, Chris mentioned the word slop, like it just didn't convert well. Like all the things, I don't know what happened here, but it didn't pull in the right, have the percentage there. I had to do a separate prompt maybe at one point here too, but it's interesting. It's not perfect.
It's not. It's not. And like, I think as a teaser, right at the beginning, we talked about this. Like, hey, we're going to do something that's going to be fun. Craig's going to write an app. We're going to do it, right? For those of you like haven't done it, don't know, we're going to do something and just go bounce. Right?
We're going to do
why not? Right?
Yeah, and so Chris, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is how you're using this in your own shops. And let me go in here. There we go. Because I have some ideas on how I want to do it. And I'm just curious, before we take a look in some of the tools I want to look at here, what are your guys doing now in the shop? I mean, we talked a little bit about the software company. We can talk more about that in a minute too, but in the shop.
Right, like, so one of the things that we rolled out early on is the AI technician rewrite notes, right? Well, lo and behold, we're it's coming soon, Gerald. We're gonna have it for everything, right? So every piece of the tool, you're gonna be able to do some sort of, rewrite at some sort of level where you can influence some of the prompting, right? So that's always been our one of the low-hanging fruit things is, why do we have our people writing? And this happens to service advisors now, right? Like they'll write explanations or they'll write something back to a customer. It's not necessarily, I did not hire grammar or spelling experts. I didn't. I hired good people that know how to do their job. So how we've used it, how we continue to use it is rewriting some of these other things outside of tool. We're about to bring that all inside tool, right? So once again, low-hanging fruit to where we can always have like a more polished explanation to customers. So it's about to be rolled out tool-wise in the text manager, in your workflow. You can rewrite your workflow. You can rewrite your work order if you share work orders with customers, QCs, like everywhere that you see that you can write notes. So that's one of the places we've been using it outside of the fact that in the tool we only rewrite the technician. So we're going to allow that to go everywhere because that's one of those things. Look, technicians, I do have some techs that are using ChatGPT to walk down and walk through diags. That has become, from what it was in the last couple of years, like it's become increasingly accurate. Now, there are models out on the market and there are some tools out on the market that are specific more to auto repair that I have not played with, right? We're still playing around with these general LLMs and prompting them and querying them for results on some of the diags and getting pretty good results. Have I rolled it out to all my texts? No, I have not. When it comes to the diags, but like that's one of the things that we're experimenting with and continue to play with. And I wish I could say like, hey, I found this great model. Once again, I've got a couple that I know that are on the market that are doing like, here's your code, here's some of the symptoms, and it's rewriting for these specific things. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I found one that I really like yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of use cases, and one of the use cases that I have envisioned, I built this app in a weekend, and I want to highlight how this worked for me. And here, let me fix my other screen here. There we go.
And another thing to marketing, right? So marketing in shop and Autoflow, marketing all over has remnants of AI in it all over now.
Oh yeah.
It's too easy. Like you just did with this PowerPoint presentation to create materials or run something through, an image through. For instance, I had an image that I took of a couple people at the shop. There were some things I didn't like in the background. There were some things I wanted at the top. And I was able just to, you're like, hey, go change this. One of them had my brother. He was covered in dirt. I'm like, clean him up. And here I got a clean picture. I just got a text. It's funny from Mac. I know he's listening. And he sent me this. It's Mac. He's one of our customers, and he kind of looks like the guy from those. He's the most interesting man in the world, and it's him.
Perfect.
And it was like, so he made me laugh. So I was just laughing because I'm like, yeah, like sure, like I've done that. I've got I told my kids I'm the master of memes the other day because my memes are they're wonderful now, right? I can make a meme about anything and everything, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah. No. So one of the things when we talk about shop life, I always think about inspection efficiency. And so this is literally an app that I created on a Sunday afternoon. And it is the first app that I spoke into existence using Claude, Cursor, and a few other elements that we'll talk about here in a moment before we're going to literally just build an app here in a moment. What I love is the idea that I can now dictate things so much easier. And I use Willow Voice. I'll explain more on that. But Willow Voice is such a great dictation agent because it can go into any text field and anything. And I hold a push to talk key on my keyboard and it'll speak things in here. And what I wanted to demonstrate here, I'll just do we'll do here, I'm going to delete that other 2002 Odyssey visit here. It actually might not delete. That's all right. We'll do another 2002 Odyssey. And we'll call it an RO number. This is just a field input for me, just for a demonstration purposes. This isn't a production-worthy application by any means, but this could live on a computer and you can do this. I have Claude baked in, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to narrate my inspection as though I'm a technician. Think of me as if I'm wearing maybe a microphone or speaking directly into my mobile phone, and I'm going around the vehicle. So imagine I'm going around the vehicle right now, and I'm going to dictate this whole thing by holding the push-to-talk key, and you'll see what happens. So I'll say, hey, I'm looking under hood on this Honda Odyssey. Engine oil is a little bit low, but looks to be in good shape. It is due for a change. The transmission fluid, it's fair condition. Looks like it could benefit from a drain and refill. Power steering fluid looks like it has a slight leak from a power steering hose there, and there's a slight aeration noise coming from the power steering. Air filter looks clean. Moving to the tires, they're all at 630 seconds and have decent tread life left. Front brakes look good and measured out about 6 millimeters, so those are fine. We did find, however, a left front outer tie rod end that's loose, a bad sway bar link on the right front, and I don't know, what else did we see? Shocks and struts look OE and should probably be replaced. I just narrated that whole thing in one stroke. What happened is Willow Voice captured all of that, and imagine you did a more thorough inspection, of course. But when I hit process on this, it's actually, oh, of course, in a demo mode, we're going to get a error. But what it actually does is it will translate a dictated note, and it matches it up to our line items that exist in the inspection. Because one of the things I did with this particular inspection is the line items that are inside of my JSON files. I loaded my JSON files into this app. So my main multi-point inspection, it takes my freeform note and it translates those freeform notes into the findings that we have, the fields that we have inside of our DVI. Really kind of a fun little tool in order to just get the freeform text out here. And yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't do my prompt there. I'll play with that again in a minute here. I had it working right before. I swear it. Actually, I had to.
Everybody's a coder now, Greg. Yeah, everybody's a coder. You know what I say?
Oh yeah, man.
About,
talk about
software
that.
is you can do anything. The bad thing about software is you can do anything, right?
Yeah. This is where I laugh because like I've been having fun because our dev team, I have new respect for the devs after dabbling in this stuff, because everyone thinks like when you start, oh yeah, you can develop applications now. Developers must be worried. Not the good ones, my friends. And what I already experienced just in that demo, I actually was fighting this morning because there was outage with this Versal program where that little web app is hosted, and I couldn't do a deployment, and I was doing some things so that I could make that app demoable. I actually had to make it able to be login based instead of just a URL. So none of you all could go to that URL and rip off my Claude API key and cost me a bunch of freaking money. So there's lots of security concerns and other things that go into it. But now I'm dealing with multiple layers of potential partners. Like you can imagine why individually scaling this, it worked really great when it was just on my own PC. It was really cool. But yeah, little things like that. But yeah, we're doing it
We're
differently in
we're
the app.
we're moving to the next couple of years, Greg. It's going to be super interesting. You're already seeing a lot of products pop up on the market. I would say this with anything, like even with our tool, like be skeptical, like healthy skepticism. I said earlier is good. If we're trying to tell you we're going to solve all your world's problems, that's not true. For those of you who know me, I've never lied. I've said that my tool works for my shops, and it works for other shops. Does it work for everybody? Absolutely not. And I'm not going to claim that this tool that we've created works for everybody, because everybody, look, everybody's got different lifts. Everybody has different scan tools. Everybody has different car. Like we're not the same. And some people like, Google, and some people like Microsoft, and some people like Zoom, and some people like Hangouts. That's fine. Some people like it doesn't. There's a good thing when we live in America and we have plenty of choices. The couple of years that we're about to go into are going to be years of absolutely just dangerous, sloppy code and slop going into the market. And it's happened before, right? Where there's been some tools that have gone out, and so my one warning would be, if you're going to use it internally, great. Be careful, because you can still, like you said, you can have keys exposed. You can have things
Yes.
that will cost you money. That somebody gets hold of your key and starts running up your tokens on Claude, and next thing you know, you've got an extremely high bill because somebody else has got a hold of it. Like you got to be careful about these things. And I would say be skeptical of the new tools that come on. How long have they been around? Do they have a track record? Are they going to be around tomorrow? There's been a couple of people that have come into this industry, I believe, and the only reason they came in is just to make money. They were in and out. And I'm still a shop owner, Greg. So
Yeah.
I have a deep appreciation for an industry where people still can be entrepreneurs and business owners. They can treat their people really well. They can work hard for their days wages. They're not working for a corporate, flying a corporate flag. They're doing what's right for their communities and their services. So I would say, just continue. Yeah, let's go down the road. Absolutely.
Yes.
Just be careful about adopting everything and everybody and anything that comes through and comes
Everything
by.
that
Right?
comes through with a dollar attached to it as well. Like what I was
Yeah.
just trying to demo a moment ago is something that I created in an afternoon. And that is absolutely, I've seen examples of stuff almost to that level coming out there. Like one of the big ones I've seen lately, it's almost a gimmick to me now, where they're pulling in repair history from various sources and demonstrating it for folks. Like these are like literally, I mean, just slap on solutions in some cases that are few prompts away from existence. And if you're charging a premium for those things, it's a cash grab for a very temporary thing. Like I promise you, like service repair history is something almost searchable for an individual owner in their own vehicle, knowing the maintenance records and all the other things. Like, gosh, guys, there's so many things coming out right now, and you're going to see little companies pop up. They're going to have solutions to sell you, and then they're going to disappear. Those companies will be gone in a blink of an eye. They'll fail to reach them.
A lot of marketing companies. Now, here's the thing, like you said, look, marketing, we use marketing heavy for Autoflow marketing. We use it in the auto repair shops for marketing. Right now, if you think about it, and it says this in the AI Driven Leader, great book, by the way, once again, suggest it to anybody. I think they give the example, like, I think it was in this book, where he talked about now, you can have a kid sitting in the garage and they basically have the ability to create marketing products that like Disney can create. The level set playing field of what you can create as far as marketing content goes is now that of a world-class organization, because of all the things that you have at your fingertips, the ability to generate images, be able to take a mock-up image, the ability to go ask the machines, hey, help me craft a great campaign. Help me go find gaps in my current, marketing plans. What are some things that will, other people are doing that I should be doing? What are some things that are successful? What are a lot of different promptings and ideas and thoughts, I think, go a long way, right? Taking your postcard, right, and go and run it through Nana Banana. Dan's mad at me right now. Hey, that's my secret. No, I mean, if you're not taking these things, or go run it through Canva.
Yeah.
Go run it through Canva now. Canva now has a great AI. Like, you can make things look so amazing now based off of a couple of prompts, a couple of questioning the machine. to make these things just amazing.
Like this, I actually got the prompt to go through by trimming the last sentence off my dictation here. And look what it did, right? It took the freeform notes and it captured most of the items here. I deleted a little bit of it there. Even my little goofy transcription of 6:30 seconds, like the Claude prompt that I have this running through is sufficient enough that what a service advisor would do right now is go and copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. But what I can see this happening, the reason I built this is just a demo, a concept. Like I can't wait. We get our V4 DVI, Chris. Feature request from Craig's coming up. Just make a voice field and have it translate all the notes into the proper line items for us so that we don't have to do anything at all. It'll be amazing.
Sure.
Yeah. Like, and then
Sure.
because we're not there quite yet, I have this ability here, right? We can just mark it as entered. And now I can purge those individual notes. So a service advisor can stay on point with these things and it doesn't just clutter up a screen. But there's lots of fun stuff to talk about here. I wanted to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about dictation for a second. And I want to talk about this just for one reason in particular is this challenged my entire line of reasoning. I hated dictating things, Chris. I thought it was silly. And I'm going to be doing a podcast on this soon because I've had some revelations come up beyond this. But I want you to pay attention to time saved on this pill on the top right. As much typing as I do during the day, which is a lot. Most of the days I'm in my inbox for a very long time. I'm now speaking into the prompt fields a lot more. And it changes the way I have to think and speak because you're doing a lot of natural filtering when you're typing things. But from a creative side, if you're trying to keep track of creative notes, dictation is the most amazing thing because you're not filtering your ideas. They're flowing out of you at the moment. And then if you are speaking into an LLM to help you as a thought partner, now we're really cooking. And one of the things I want to go into is exactly what we do with those LLMs. That is not just it's a research agent. It's all sorts of things. But guys, the challenge that I had from reading Jeff Wood's book on the AI-driven leader was actually in the prompt that he has in the beginning. Chris, you'd be familiar with the crit prompt out of the gate. And we're going to use this here in just a moment. Because the crit prompt, it's an acronym, CRIT. I should have made a slide for this. But it's context, role, interview, task. So you give the AI the context of the project that you're working on. You tell it what its role is in this project, and then you ask it to interview you as many questions as it takes, one question at a time. Do remember that when you're prompting AI to ask you questions, tell it one question at a time. Otherwise, it will give you 20 questions. You're going to be sitting there typing out a novel. You're going to lose your text field, and then all the work's undone. One question at a time. And then the task, what the outcome actually needs to look like. And when you can construct it that way, now we're not just having AI as some sort of chat friend or thing. It's a thought partner now, and it will be drawing out of you your concepts and ideas. If you got a complex problem that you need to solve and you maybe haven't thought of all the solutions, ask it to interview questions about more elements of the problem. And it is amazing what it will do to draw that out of you. That crit prompt is a really good takeaway for today. If you have not used that, that will change the way you leverage an LLM. It's very effective. But now, Chris, anything else you want to add on that before we?
No, and Scott just put it up on the screen too. Thank you, Scott, for putting it up. Right. Context, role, interview, text. Wonderful. Nope. Excellent.
So one of the things I want to do is have some fun here today. And I'm going to put this on my screen. So we'll go back so that everyone can see what I'm looking at. And we're going to go into a live build in a project inside of Claude. So I'm in Anthropic's Claude. I have this as an installed application on my computer. And what I do, folks, is I'm using Claude and Cursor side by side. This other program here is Cursor. I can actually make that a little bit smaller here. And we're going to play with this to build something. And I have some pre-staged prompts ready to go. Let's see. So let's do this. I think it's this one here. Yeah, so we're ready to go. And I'm just going to say, ready to go. Let's begin. Dictating is a lot faster, folks. So I use a lot of dictations when I'm doing this prompt. So I primed up Claude to do this today with us in the webinar. So it's ready. It's performing now. So we're going to go in and we're going to call, I've named this new app where I'm about to create the Speak Up Scratchpad. We're going to make something that uses sticky notes on on basically a desktop screen to keep track of little tasks that come across our view. It'll just be a fun project to do that's going to be very easy. And we're going to do this as a locally hosted web app, which means that it's actually, the files are all hosted on my machine instead of actually having to go and host it on Amazon web servers or Versal or any other layers of complexity. What I want you all to remember is that when I started using Claude and Cursor, the thing I told Claude is that I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about coding at all. Treat me as a complete layman. You're going to have to guide me through literally every single step along the way. And folks, it did, from the install of Cursor, logins that I needed, installing a code program in there, Node.js on my computer, and being able to leverage it. It will walk you step by step by step, every step of the way. So don't be intimidated about my starting point here. I took care of a couple of the baseline steps you'll want to do on your own. Literally, in this case, it's just creating a folder directory on my computer and opening that folder up inside of Cursor, which is ready to go. I already have that folder open. And so here's our first move. We need to give sus it's a great acronym for an app. It's foundation. And look, pay attention to that all you want. Really, the cool thing is like, I was joking with Chris before the webinar, I'm going to get one of our developers a mug eventually that says, I know how to code. And it's going to say Control-C, Control-V. It'd be a great t-shirt here, because this is what I'm going to do. It's literally paste this into Cursor and it tells me exactly what to do and why. So I go in here and I paste it and I hit enter, and we're off to the races. It's going to start working on this stuff here, and you're going to see this moving on that left side of the screen. It's got a thought process doing. And by the way, I'm using a part of Cursor called Composer 2. That's their native agent inside of there. I was built on top of some open source stuff and some of their own proprietary things too. But through APIs, I could use Claude in here. I could use GPT. I could use you could use any of your favorite coding utilities. Early on, you'll want to watch it because you'll have a few clicks you got to make. So here I am. I just made a development decision to let something run. This is why I always said it seems easy to me, Chris, with all the feature requests that I had. I'm just picturing the developers being able to type this fast and all the other things. It's how it is, right?
Yes.
Actually, I have seen Mohan type. So just to be fair.
Yeah, so in the back end, it's literally going, it's downloading all the libraries you need, it's going and writing code, right? That's what it's all doing on the left, right? This Cursor is this, IDE, integrated desktop development environment, right? And of course, this is a times 10 because it's got all AI driven behind it, right? So, yeah. Basically doing everything, like you said, a developer would do that would take. Just thinking about the setup for the environment would take a lot of time depending on the developer, would take time, right? To download the right libraries, make sure your environment's ready to go, and all the things that you need just to get started to start coding takes time.
Hey, here's the output already. Like in the time we were even explaining it, it's done with this baseline foundation. I already hit an option right here. It said keep all, so that it would actually keep the changes that it's just made to the file. And the way I do this, and the way I've been doing it, so I have context both in Cursor. You could do all your prompting in Cursor, but I do all my prompting in Claude so that it has context of my program now as well. All my ideation and everything else I do here, and then I just give the program specifics inside of Cursor, and then I give Claude the context of what was completed. And when I give it that, it's going to tell me like, oh, yeah, that's a strong foundation. We're doing great, right? I don't know what it means here at all. No clue. But yeah, before we go on, one quick housekeeping note for the audience. If your browser is still showing the old Vite default screen, make sure index CSS. All right, so that's cool. Now, we didn't do anything with an npm run here, but our next move is to make the sticky board itself. Like, hang on, should we go and like do something else here to see what this foundation looks like? Maybe we don't need to yet. We'll just keep going with the prompts here. And then I'll clarify with Claude a moment. And once we get this thing open, we can maybe take a feature request or something from the audience here and see if we can apply it, because it's absolutely tons of fun once you see what the program looks like. And great. And hey, let me know when I should open this thing up and put it on the screen. Right? You can be totally abjectly conversational with the thing and casual with this thing, and it'll be good, right? Oh yeah. So, okay. Put it up there and walk them through. Now, see, this is the thing, like, put it up how? I don't know. And we just already have the next code thing done. So before we do, we'll just go grab that. We'll keep all, and then we're going to paste it back here and let Claude know where we're at. And then let's say, hey, let's open this puppy up. See what this looks like. I think I'll need a fresh web tab here. Because remember, folks, I'm building this on my computer. It's actually just making a file on my computer. You'll be able to open it in a web browser if you're doing something like this on your own, because when you really think about it, a web page is just accessing something that's stored on another computer anyways. Similar principle. All right, so hey, before we do this next prompt, let's take a look at it. What's the URL I should use? It should be able to tell me exactly what to do. Localhost 5173. Let's see if I can do that easily while I'm navigating live in a webinar. Nope, that didn't open. Help me open it. No worries. Is the dev server still running? Yeah, here. This is what I actually probably need. I don't know. Oh, no, we need to do this. We need that in terminal. New terminal, npm run. And don't worry, you'll be able to talk your own way into this stuff. Oh, no. See, now I got to read it. If the terminal was closed, the server stopped, let it run. I don't know. I'm gonna see what I need to do. Nope, it's not opening. See, now we would go into diagnostic mode here. So let me do that. But yeah, I'm not able to open it. Help me open it. Some wrong port or something. I don't know, Chris, you're the dev.
I would actually ask in Cursor to get your server up and running so you can demo it. So you're prompting Cursor to the left. Don't prompt Claude.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
What do I need to do to run my app? What do I need to do to run my app?
What do I need to do to run my app?
They'll probably give you a series of commands.
Run. All right, here we go. It's probably a good piece of advice there. And the last project I did on localhost, it just literally opened right up in here when it was ready to run.
It should actually open a browser.
Yeah, looks like we're going to have what you need to do to run it. No, I already did all that stuff. Oh, maybe we didn't do some of that baseline layer. Shoot. Probably made this more complicated than I need to. So demo off the rails.
The rails. So
yep. Open in terminal cursor, go to terminal, new terminal, check that you have that, check you're in the right folder, type this and enter. Yeah, we're in the right folder. There we go. There's something there. You should see package JSON on list. If you don't, you need to navigate. Yeah, looks right. Yeah, I probably skipped a step in the whole initial thing.
Yeah, you don't have package JSON in your.
Doesn't look like it did it? Yeah, shoot. Doggone. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it quickly here. That's a bummer. I was hoping to be able to pop that up on the screen from scratch, but I actually did skip some of the scratch steps on all that other stuff. So, all right. bummer, because there is a neat way to be able to do that right inside of all this stuff. And when I don't skip steps trying to do a quick demo, I wanted to pop that up on the program. It would have been a lot of fun, but
That's what we get, Greg, for trying to be creative. But I believe that in Cursor or in Claude, you could tell it, hey, could you just run a simulation of the program itself, and it could run it for you.
Yeah.
As a web app. I don't even think you need Cursor. I think you could say, hey, could you just run me a simulated?
Yeah, it definitely would.
Version?
And it's telling me it can't with a Byte and React app from there, so it's arguing with me.
Okay.
Yeah, it wanted to do it all HTML anyways. If it was HTML, it would have done. Yeah, which would actually be.
Well, in the background, go, hey, rewrite it to where you can run an example for me. Don't worry about that. I just want to show these people how easy it is.
I know.
In the background.
No.
That way, it's just, don't fail, Craig. Don't. Go argue with the machine and tell it that you want it to give you a demo. Say, what do I need to do to get the demo?
I have it writing it up as an HTML right now.
Perfect. Perfect. Hey, as a side note, did you get Suno working?
So Suno was one that we were talking about ahead of time too, which was an interesting concept. And I haven't played with that one enough to feel confident in demonstrating Suno.
It didn't write you a song?
I did. It wants to prompt me for things. 2 minutes before the webinar on that one wasn't enough for that particular program for me. But yeah, that was a neat concept, because I know you've played with that for songwriting too. But here's the cool mock-up from Claude, at least. So we can type something out. It's like, hey, remember to call the client about the parts we need to wait for a week. And boom, you have a sticky note on the screen. And it's basically the program that we're building. And then you can take the thing and you can throw it away. So pretty cool little program. It'd be cooler if I could open it up on my computer and actually show it. But that's the gist of what we were building here, is just a simple way to speak a memory note in here. Like, remember to call Chris and talk about AI, right? And it'll pop my note in, boom. And now we have this thing, right? So that simple program.
Even though you failed at using Cursor, look, you're still able to go salvage it and do your point of your product right here. Minimal viable product, an MVP right here.
Minimal viable product. And the cool thing about it is, and I'm absolutely going to build this little program later with all the correct prompts. And if you're interested in it and want to play with something like that on your own machine, then by all means reach out. And same thing with Willow Voice too. We can probably through a referral code allow you to get a free month and practice dictating. Because the way I think about this stuff is I just think about what can it take off my shoulders. And when I think about the things that I'm typically doing poorly, it's containing all of the different things that come across my brain. Now I just feel like I've got all these ideas and things and tasks flying around, and I never even took the time to organize it in a simple spot in a way that can prompt me to take care of these things. And there's all sorts of apps that are trying to solve this sort of problem in more creative ways. But hey, with a logic layer built into it so that certain things like order parts for the Jeep should show up as a green note. Yep.
Craig, hey, this was the chance we took when we're going, hey, let's build something live during the webinar. It's the chance we took. Hey, it didn't go, it was supposed to go, but still you were able to recover and build this within seconds. And that's just the power, right? Within power, that's the power within Claude, right? So the power of it is you still could do existence. You try to do it to where you can pull it up on your desktop. But here you still created a little, and technically you could deploy this little Scratchpad app if you wanted to. You could say, hey, go take this and go throw it somewhere, and Claude could still do that for you, right? Not using the cursor and all the things that you're using, which is awesome. But you could still tell Claude, hey, I want to go publish this somewhere. Basically, the idea is, I think you did it right. You got to tell it, hey, I don't know a lot about this thing, so help me get through this step by step, right? Don't be an expert when you don't have to be an expert. Craig was trying to fly through it, but that's okay. That's okay, Craig. It happens.
Hey, I don't know. I feel fine about it. My hope out of all of this is that people don't feel intimidated about going in and trying to do stuff, but take it one
Yeah,
step at a time and do it at a pace
absolutely.
that you don't skip any steps like I did, and then you won't run into some jams. It's actually a perfectly solvable jam. It'll allow me to do some prompts and go through it. I just don't want to take everybody through that part of the process. I want to just show you how quick we could speak something into existence. And for what that means, especially for our audience here that likes to make feature requests, that means you mock up better feature requests. Because that's absolutely one of the ways I absolutely use it for our dev team, to make a functional element of what it is that I'm describing, as opposed to just the raw idea form of the thing. When you can actually show them what it is, trust me, in the hands of a knowledgeable dev, they're going to laugh at any of the code that comes out of these things. But they will take the idea in a much better frame of reference now and be able to do something meaningful with it that's also scalable.
Yes.
So yeah,
I would agree with you on that. This has opened up now an ability to understand and speak things into existence, as you said. That was before, you were trying to describe things, and it was much harder. Whereas you can actually show it. You can build it and show and say, hey, this is what I meant, and
yeah,
this is what I was trying to do.
yeah.
It's a brave new world we're entering into.
It's insane.
Extremely brave. Yeah.
Yeah, but these elements are there. And guys, that crit prompt will be great. Now, I would argue too, before you start doing a little project like what I'm playing with here, scope out your project. Do that crit prompt with Claude or whatever LLM you're using, and let it help you get the full scope. I actually spent probably, oh gosh, the one of the larger projects I did, I probably had a good 75 questions it asked me. I spent hours giving the full context of some of the dynamics that I have, especially for like tracking multiple organizations and shops that are onboarding different stages. It's a complex problem. And so the interview portion of it was a huge part of the project. Then it started asking me more questions about, like, is this just a prototype? Do you want this to actually be functional? Is this something your team's going to use? Is it going to require APIs? Do you want it to be a web app or an installed app or any of these other elements? It's going to help you answer all of those things, and you got to get it right out of the gate. One of the other sloppy projects I made that I couldn't even dare show you is become such a mess because the scope of the project that I wanted to accomplish, I did a terrible job mapping out ahead of time.
No, but here's the thing, Craig. The nice thing is, and I think this goes back to her. Hey, how are you use it? Just use it, right? Using it at first is probably going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be gross. You can only get better. Yeah, hey, it's stupid. You know, if you think it's stupid, it's going to be stupid. Has it started to influence everything that we do and continue to influence everything we do? Craig, look, I've spent late nights at it, talking to, the machine about all kinds of things, about strategy, and it's actually very, it's as good as the stuff you put in. Don't put in your bank account, don't put in your social security number, don't put in your driver's license number. But, and a lot of people, I was one of those people at the beginning, like I was hesitant to put in business information. And then you pointed this out a long time ago, which you're like, hey, we've been using Google Docs forever. And what do you think they've been doing? So they've been training their, machines. They have all our data. And is there anything like, if I go feed it to the machine specifically, it's going to get robbed and stolen? Customer data, I'm not going to put in there. Employee data, I'm not going to put in there. But some of my spreadsheets and models and stuff, have I used it to, once again, build forecasts or to improve what my budget is, or to improve what my forecasts, or what my budgeting forecasts are, to look at patterns in P&Ls and see, are there certain things or ranges that are going up or down, or why is this going out? Like, I'm one of these business owners who looks at P&Ls every month, right? But sometimes we miss things because there's variances that we're not paying attention to that happen to over time, right? And are you seeing the patterns over time? Here's one thing that LLMs are really good at is identifying patterns and giving you insight into, whether things are working in the right direction for you or they're working against you, right? Or at least lead you to go, hey, I should pay a little more attention to this particular spot of the business because this is starting to get out of control. This is going further down the road than I realized it was, right? A lot of times, it's that boiling frog effect where things in our businesses slowly change, And before we know it, we're in hot water, right? We're boiling in hot water. Parts margins, we're not paying attention to certain aspects that get out of control on our P&L and start running, you get away. And once they're away from us, you're like, oh crap, we're in trouble, right? So a lot of good business applications you can use for it as well. Once again, how much, I used to always be concerned, how much is this going to get to my competitor? I'm in a 20 group, right? I sit logically with 20 other people who are all shop owners, and some of them could be considered competitors. And I don't really mind. I'll break bread with the guy down the road from me. I don't really mind, right? There's enough auto repair and enough cars out there for all of us to be successful.
Yeah. No,
be careful with it. Just don't have to be, I don't think that some of this, I'm worried about all the information going on the web. Yeah, don't give it your bank account numbers. Don't give it your social security. By the way, the government's already leaked all that stuff anyways. Like
man, it's yeah.
It's not like they're leaking something that that LLMs would or would.
Yeah.
And no, you seem frustrated. You tried. And you
I know, man. Oh, I wanted to make I wanted the app to give people afterwards. Here's a zip file and everything. I have it still in the brain because it was all planned. Oh, it's so maddening. But I know I can solve it. I just can't do it live inside of the time frame.
Craig's gonna do it. Ask for the webinar. Hit Craig up via email. Make him feel better and say, "Yeah, what's your sticky notes program?" So I can load it on my desktop.
Yeah, no, but thanks for this conversation, Chris. Because look, this is the thing. I didn't want to dive into it, but now I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm starting to be able to. Some of the other programs I've already made are actually solving challenges for our department here at Autoflow, and I know that some of the other solutions that our dev team is already mapping out for use inside of the application is going to solve all their problems in the shops too. I'm enthusiastic right now about the power of voice dictation in these programs and the context and awareness that they bring for what it's going to do to free up our people in the Bay. One of the hardest things, and I see it all the time, is technicians having to stop, type in notes with their thumbs, and all the frustration that goes in that. If we can speed that up, we keep technicians flowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good times. Thanks so much, Chris. Appreciate everyone joining us today. If there's any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or drop them in an email to me. Would love to be able to hear from you about what you're making, take some feature requests and help you draft up the right kind of mock-up that gets things to where they need to be. And man, we're going to see where this goes in 3 months. It's probably going to go in directions we haven't even yet imagined. So stay tuned.
That's great.
Thanks, Bridget. Yeah, no, we're good. Stage fright today. No, I hate doing live demos. That's okay. We'll have AI do the live demo next time and it'll be flawless. No, we won't. This is authentic people trying to do artificial things. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you soon.